Hello everyone, this is Emily from EC Emily, a Feeling for Some. I hope everybody's doing well. I hope everybody's okay. Today I'm going to make a butter bread, and the way I'm going to do this butter bread is going to be so easy. You can make it the night before Christmas, you can make it the morning of Christmas, the night before New Year's, or the morning of New Year's. Anytime you want to make it, you can make it. In this measuring cup, I have half cup of milk. You can use any milk of your choice. This is whole milk. I am going to use half teaspoon of salt. I have 3/4 cups of unsalted butter, 3 tablespoons of brown sugar. In this jar, I have 1 cup of hot water. The milk is cold, so we have to gauge the temperature because we need warm liquid so our yeast can rise. And I have my yeast right here. So now I'm going to put the hot water into the milk. I'm going to add, and this should give us 1.5 cup of liquid. 1.5 cup of liquid. I'm going to add 1 tablespoon of brown sugar, and now I'm going to put my yeast. And you want your yeast to start rising before you add the ingredients before you start combining the ingredients. So when I see my yeast start rising, that's when I'm going to add the butter to the flour. You stir it up well. And if you think it's not warm enough, what you can do, if you think it's not warm enough, it has to be lukewarm. You can sit the liquid in a pot to make sure it's warm, because it's cold. Where we are right now, it's very cold, and we want to make sure our yeast rise. I'm going to wait about 3 minutes to see if the yeast is rising before I start combining the butter and the flour. Just a little old folks tale. If you were a young lady and you were having your periods or you were menstruating, you were not allowed to make bread, because according to the old folks tale, your periods would prevent the yeast from rising. And it's always good to have more than 1 pack of yeast in your house, because if that 1 pack didn't rise, then you can always try another pack. My yeast is activating, so I'm going to rest this pot with the yeast aside, and I'm now going to combine the butter with the flour. Next, I'm going to add the 2 tablespoons of sugar into the flour and butter. I'm going to add half teaspoon of salt. I'm going to wash my hands. I'm going to start combining. the ingredients. And I want the butter is room temperature. I want the butter to be well into the flour. Now I'm just going to take the yeast and I'm going to put everything straight into the other ingredients. And I'm going to just mix that. If you don't like your hand in flour, you can always use a spatula or a spoon. Now I'm going to take my other cup of flour and I'm going to put it in here. I'm now going to put my dough to rest. And this is what my dough looks like. This was step 1 of the process. Step 2 of the process, I'm going to let this rest for about 15 minutes over a pot with hot water to help the dough to keep warm. So I'm going to put this pot on the stove. The stove is not lit, and I'm just going to rest this bowl with the dough on the pot. That's step 2. I'm moving on to step 3, and I want you to see how light, you see? Look at that. And even though I have it over the water, the warm water, the top of it is still cold. So it's very good to put it over that hot water. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to light the stove and let the water get a little bit warmer to help us with the process of, having the dough rest. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to knead this one more time. And the more we knead our dough and let it rest, the better texture we will have for our bread. Now we will do step 3, and we will put it back to rest a little bit for about another 15 to 20 minutes. And step 4, we will put it in the pan. My pans are greased. I'm using these 2 pans because I'm making 2 loaves. Okay? And we are going to move to step. Look at, I put the water to heat up a little bit, and look at the difference. See how much? Look. So now I'm going to move to step 4. Step 4 is putting the dough into the pans. Look at, and you can actually smell the yeast. I am not putting the dough on a board. I am not putting it on my counter. I am just doing it in my hand like this. This is what it looks like in the pan. this is what our dough looks like in the pan. It's very soft and it's very buttery because it's a butter bread. Okay, now I am going to put the oven on to heat up 350 degrees Fahrenheit, and I'm going to rest the pans on the stove. So while the oven is heating up, the heat is going to rise and it's going to help these to stay warm and rise even faster. In about 15 minutes, I'm going to put them in the oven. These loaves will take about 40 minutes to bake. I don't test bread, I judge my bread by its color. So I'm going to look at the time, 35 minutes, and then 40 minutes. I guarantee you it's going to be at the color that I like it. See, this is what the dough looks like before I put them in the oven. I'm going to put them in the oven now. I took the bread off from the oven, and I want you to see, this is what I mean when I said I like my bread brown and I judge by the color. So it's still hot, I just took it off. And this is what I'm talking about. This is the color. I have to learn how to keep my object right under the camera so you can see. Okay, now I'm going to remove it from the pan. See the color of the bread? So this is what our butter bread looks like. 2 loaves. If you rush the bread and you put it into the oven with not letting the bread rest, you will see that the bread opens up because it raises too quickly, so it would open up. You will not have a smooth surface bread like this. So it's very important that when you're making your bread, if you want it to open up and you think you like that look, it's okay. And also the texture of the bread is not as soft as when you let your dough take its time and rest. Those are tips on bread making. Oh, I'm so excited to be able to be doing this. It's my passion. It's really my passion. And I know sometimes people think I talk a lot. It's my passion to teach. I just love teaching, and I like when I teach, I like to know that people really understand and can follow through. So I try to make the process very easy as possible. My son doesn't think that. My son thinks I talk too much. Look at this. Look at the texture of this bread. Look at the texture. I want you to see. See the texture? This is what your bread will look like if you follow my recipe to make this bread. Look. Look at that. Look. Delicious, guys. Look at, you can see the butter. You can see. Thank you for watching. EC Emily, a feeling for some. Thank you for tuning in to EC Emily, a feeling for some. If you like my video, like, subscribe, share, leave your comments. Let me know how you feel about my recipe. I love you all so much. And thank you for watching. I'm feeling for some.